So a few weeks ago, this arrived in the mail, and quite frankly, I didn't really know what it was. I was getting a couple other packages, and there was this small box, and I thought, "Oh, what the heck is this?" So I thought maybe it was something I ordered from one of the e-commerce sites. I didn't really look at it closely, but when I opened it, let's see. So when I opened the package, where is it? There we are. First thing that came out was this. What the heck is that? Then I remembered, oh, yes. So this is a little, I think this is called I'm not sure what this is called, Aret 18K. So let's pause right here. I just need to add that the name of this camera is Agate. And in fact, it's Agate 18K. I have a previous version that is just Agate 18. 18, of course, would refer to the fact that it's half frame, and a normal 35 millimeter frame is 24 by 36. So in this case, it's 24 by 18. This is a little Soviet half frame camera. Here's its lens shade. I'm sorry, there's its lens cap. So the story of this camera is that I bought it on August 11th. By September, it had made its way to Australia, where all tracking on it just simply stopped. And so I thought, all right, I can wait this out and see how this turns out. And at some point, I just forgot about it. So this arrived just after Christmas. And like I said, I was quite surprised to see it. So it took, let's see, August, September, October, November, December to the end of the month. So it took 4.5 months to make it from, I believe it was shipped from the Ukraine all the way to the United States with a side trip to Australia. One of the reasons I got this was because it included the owner's manual. And so I thought, wow, that'll be helpful. And then I realized, of course, I can neither read nor write Cyrillic, which is the written language for Russia and several other Eastern European nations. So it's really of limited use, although it does have a lot of pictures that sort of explain things. It includes this one little thing. I'm not even sure what the heck this is. This was stuck inside the booklet, the owner's manual. So I don't know if this is a target for something, uh, um, a photographic target, which you would mount this, or I just don't know what it is. Sort of interesting, though. I'll take a look inside the owner's guide, see if it gives any clues to what that might be. So this is primarily a plastic camera, and it pulls apart. How you pull it apart is you'll see this little slide on the bottom. And so you push it in the direction of the arrow, and the two halves then come apart. There are no batteries with this camera, so there's no exposure meter. I believe it has a single shutter speed. I'll take a look and see what that shutter speed is. And you adjust your exposure simply by changing your aperture. Now, this is how you change, that's right, this is how you change your film speed. It's the inner dial. The outer dial's for changing your aperture, and that is how you adjust your exposure. The fact that the camera doesn't have a battery, nor does it seem to have any way to change shutter speeds, makes me wonder what shutter speed is available. I would assume it's a fixed shutter speed. I would think maybe it's in the 1/30th to 1/50th of a second range. I'm going to get out my shutter speed tester and we'll take a look. One 161.96. So we can just say it has a fixed shutter speed of 1/60th of a second. As you can see, there's a very limited space in here for pretty much anything. I think you have the film cartridge and that's about it. This little take-up spool is it removable? Ah, yes, it is removable. Although I don't know why you would remove. You probably wouldn't want to remove it because it seems to be a proprietary take-up spool. That is, if you were to remove this, I'm not exactly sure you could advance the film in a properly. So don't lose this. As you can see, this is a half frame camera. You can see how tiny that is. A little flip over pressure plate, and there's a spring to keep the pressure plate pushed against the film gate here. Roll the pressure plate, in this case it's very important, is to keep the film flat against this opening here, your film gate, so that when you take your photo, you'll get a sharpened image as possible, always dependent, of course, upon the uh, lens being able to record a sharp image. I don't know anything about this lens. In fact, let's see. Couldn't even begin to pronounce this, so this is a 2.8 28 millimeter lens. Remember, that's half frame, so that's roughly equivalent to 56 millimeters, or what we would consider to be a normal lens. Apertures run from 2.8 to f16. With it being 2.8, it probably would be it would not be a surprise if this is a Tessar type, a 4-element lens. Looks like it's fairly simple to load film into this camera. Here we are. Yeah, so it looks like this is fairly simple. You just take this out, take your leader, insert it into the take-up spool, and you begin advancing. Yeah, that's that really is pretty simple. These have little guides here. These actually are rails so you don't put this underneath. You have to put it inside, or channels. Put it inside these little channels, and then when you press this together, you'll hear it snap into place. There we are. Now you simply fire off your 2 blanks. I believe with half frame, you actually fire off 4 blanks. 1, 2, 3, and then 4. There are 2 dots here on the top of the camera. This first dot is means you're in film advance mode. If you rotate this way, you means you can now rewind your film. There's a small arrow indicating which way you should turn your film advance, and it would be this way. I might fill that with some silver paint. It's a very small rotation, of course, being a half-frame camera, so there's not a whole lot of film travel. All right, this is fairly simple. Also on the top deck is your frame counter and your fold-out rewind crank. This is your viewfinder. It's a Galilean viewfinder with projected frame lines. So this would be known as a bright line viewfinder, or also a Van Albeda viewfinder, named after the person who is credited with developing this type of viewfinder. So to take your photo, what you actually do is you peer through the viewfinder here, and you use your left finger, whatever you're most comfortable using, to release the shutter. This is going to be a scale focus lens, and here's the scale right here. And being a primarily Soviet or European camera, it's going to be marked in meters. So those are actually very easy to understand. For setting your exposure, after you set your film speed, here's the small indicator. Here's the hash mark for setting your film speed. And so you would then rotate this inner dial until you have arrived at your correct film speed. It's a little tiny, so if you have big fat fingers, you might want to use perhaps like a ballpoint pen or something to help you move it. Remember, you have a fixed shutter speed of 1/60th of a second, so here is where you will adjust your exposure. And so you'll use these small little pictograms here, either sunny, I guess mostly sunny or hazy, or I'm not sure, cloudy, dark cloudy, etc., etc. There is no hot shoe on this camera. When I took a look at this camera originally, I didn't think it had a hot shoe, but in fact it does. It's sort of interesting. So if we look at the camera like this and turn it on its side, you'll notice this little cutout. And I sort of wondered, because there's this little serrated edge here, this little serrated oval, I guess I should say. And I thought, oh, I wonder what this is. So if you pull on it, on the serrations, there's your hot shoe. Now remember, this little cover is removable, so you'll want to stick it in your pocket or whatever when you shoot flash, and then replace it afterward. Because you do have to exert some pressure, it's unlikely to be pulled away accidentally. Regardless, it doesn't take too much effort to remove it, so I don't think there's a chance of it falling off accidentally, but it's something that you want to be aware of. It's a very compact camera, very small. In fact, I have what camera do I have here? Let's compare it with a Balda CE35. This is a full frame camera, and you can see the little half frame camera. Sort of the same size. In fact, this is a bit thicker when viewed from above. Very similar in size, though. Of course, what's the advantage of shooting this one over this one? This one is, because it's full frame, you get the indicated number of exposures per roll. Whereas this one, you would get double the number because it's half frame. All right, let's rewind that film back into its canister. Rotate that to red. Then once again, you would rotate this in the direction of the arrow. I can hear fill coming off of the take-up spool. Now you can take that and rotate that back, I suppose. Oh, pop open your back. So lens up, pull this toward you, and then this comes apart. Oh, look at that. I'm going to guess that I have exposed some of the film that was in here. I'll have to deal with that at some other point, I suppose. Yeah, probably didn't expose that much. All right, once you're finished rewinding your film, let's get that off the take-up spool. Then the film just removes, same as any other roll film. Remember, you want to put these little extensions here into the channels that are in the back. Fold that down and you're good to go. Has somewhat limits as far as exposure goes. However, while you don't have a full range of shutter speeds, in fact, you only have the 1/160th of a second, you do have the ability to change apertures. I'm wondering if it has a bulb setting on here at all. Try a couple things. I was hoping that this setting might actually be like a bulb setting, but in fact that does not appear to be the case. And that brings us to the end of this video. Just a real quick one today. If you enjoyed this video, give me a like. And if you have any thoughts on any cameras you'd like to see me review in the future, feel free to leave a comment below. Also, click that icon in the lower right corner of the screen for more content about cameras and photography. And I'll see you on the next video.